All right, that's one of the few songs I'm from the 80s that's kind of flashy that I like. Anyways, let's move on. Great song. Let's get back to what we got to do. Okay, so today we're going to talk about 9.3, solving quadratic equations. Okay, the big idea. There are several ways to solve quadratic equations. Some of you have already noticed that. I'm talking about algebraically, the way that we can solve them and find information out of them. Also, just graphing them and being able to tell different things about them, graphing them. So there are many ways to solve these. Now, the way that we're going to talk about today is graphing and square roots. Okay, so quadratic equation has solutions or roots. Make sure you're aware of that. Solutions or roots, either one of these. Quadratic graphs have zeros or x-intercepts. Okay, interesting. Quadratic graphs have zeros or x-intercepts. These four terms are closely related and found in similar ways. All right. So, if I'm talking about solutions or roots or zeros or x-intercepts, you'll know really I'm kind of talking about the same thing. And we'll use them in different situations. But right here, the red quadratic, if I'm just looking at the graph, I've got one solution here and one solution here. Those are the zeros, the x-intercepts, where it crosses the x-axis. The blue one, I got one here and I got one here. Okay? These down here are one solution ones. So the vertex is sitting on the x-intercept. Alright? And that's only one solution. Only one spot where we hit the x-axis. These over here have no real solutions. They never touch the x-axis. They never cross the x-axis. So no real solutions. Now these are ways to look at it graphically, right? So if you see a problem with this and I say what are the real solutions, you would find where it crosses the x-axis. Okay? If you see them like this, then it has no real solutions. Alright, let's try a couple problems here. Alright, so solve by graphing. Okay? So if I want you to solve or find the solutions by graphing, then the first thing that you should do is actually graph it. So we're going to go x, it's not going to work with this, that's alright, x squared, minus 81. Okay, x squared minus 81. It's not really showing up. So let's zoom out, see if we can find it. There it is. Alright, so it looks like here at negative 9 is one of them, and over here at 9 is another one. Alright, so my two solutions would be x equals negative 9 and x equals 9. Alright, that's graphically. Alright, they're both x's. It's where it crosses the x-axis, so it should be x equals both of them. If you put x equals plus or minus 9, I'm fine with that too. Alright, let's try number 2. Number 2 changes it just a little bit. Back up out of that. We go to 12. Okay, there are my two solutions on this one. Oh, sorry, let's put the plus in there. Plus. Okay, so now I have one of my problems. Alright, this is the vertex is at 0, 12. It never crosses the x-axis. Okay, so when I go back here to write in my answer, I'm actually going to put, this is one of those flip over. This is one of those we're going to say no real solution. Okay, no real solution. Okay. Alright, now this one's a little different. Okay. Rule number 2, quadratics to solve must be set equal to 0. Okay, quadratics set equal to 0. So I got to get rid of the 7, move it over here, so I have 0 over here. So I get x squared, subtract 7 equals 0. 7's go away. Alright, this one's going to be a lot easier to graph. All we basically have to do is type in x squared. So back that whole thing out. It hits at 0, 0. So what is my solution? My solution is just x equals 0. One solution. Okay, so we had an example with 2. We've had an example with 1. or sorry, we've had an example with none, and then we had an example with 1. Alright, let's try the last one. 5x squared minus 80. So I'm just going to put the 5 in front of there. Minus 80. And there we go. Again, I'm just looking right here. That's all I'm looking for, is these 2 points right here. So the x coordinate, -4, and 4 are my answers. So x equals plus or minus 4. Okay? Plus or minus 4. Alright, let's try next one. Okay, we can solve by square roots. Now, solving by square roots is nice whenever we, for any equation where it's just ax squared minus c. There's no b term, okay? If there's no b term, then we can solve by isolating x squared and taking the square root of both sides, okay? So what I basically am doing is going let's see, a equals square root of 225. So I basically up here square rooted both sides. Square root of a squared, those cancel. Alright, and then we got the square root of 225, which is 15, and we need to be careful because whenever we square root a number, it's plus or minus. Okay, so positive 15 times positive 15 equals 225, and negative 15 times negative 15 equals 225. So there are 2 answers. And it's plus 15 and minus 15. This one, again, I see that there's no b term. Okay, there's no b term, so I'm going to try it. So 3w squared equals, move the 8 to the other side, we end up with 0. Okay, divide by 3, we end up with w squared equals 0. So square root both sides, w equals 0. There's one solution. This one I don't have to put plus or minus because that doesn't make any sense. 0 is 0. Doesn't matter. It's not positive. It's not negative. Okay. So this one I have 1 answer on. This one I have 2 answers on. Alright. Finally to the end. Solve by square roots. Go ahead and give both of these a try. Pause the video. Try them out. And then we'll come back. Alright. Hopefully I had a shot to work these out, but again, if I'm going to solve by square roots, I got to isolate the x squared, which is different than what we've been doing when we're graphing. So note that. So x squared equals 1. So square root both sides. The square root of 1 is 1. So x equals plus or minus 1. 2 solutions. Over here, v squared equals 9 over 16. Square root, v equals 3/4. Oh, do not forget plus or minus. 2 solutions. Alright, easy enough. I'll see you let's see, I guess not tomorrow. It would actually be on April 21st, Tuesday. See you on Tuesday, and I think we're going to have a quiz, a Desmos quiz on that day. So be ready to rock and roll. Alright, see you later.